happens. I'm really, today I'm done with technology at this point. Apathy, discussion of the day, right? I hope you guys can see me. I can't see. So, when we are trying desperately to give in any situation, whether it's to ourselves or to others, there's always this sense of how to go about it. What is it that, is this fulfilling? Is this, is everything okay, right? And so as I go through trying to teach you guys on a format, I can't even see myself, much less see you guys. This is a very, it feels like I'm teaching blind. I can't even see myself or anything. So I feel like we're all in this. We're kind of all, this moment for me right now is a huge metaphor for what's going on with probably everyone. I feel like we're all kind of wandering through all of this very blindly and cannot see, and the path is so small and in the distance that all we can see is the outline, right? And it's very disconcerting. It's at this pace of, like, you know, I don't know how to set one foot in front of the other, right? So what you can do in these situations, like for me right now, I really desperately need this video to be recorded so that people who are paying for this video can get it later, right? And that's a worry and that's a concern, and it's going to be in the background of my mind, but I can't move forward from that place, right? So I have to just do the best I can in the moment. And regardless whether we're doing something on the mat, whether it's a physical posture that we're not really good at, we're doing the best we can in the moment, right? And so maybe think along the lines of times that you haven't been able to see your path clearly, and you're just in the mode of taking one step at a time, right? That's how today's class is going to be. We're going to pay attention to the now moment so much that we're going to break everything down. And I've also had flies around me because randomly they've decided to sprout. Let's take everything moment by moment for this next hour that we're together. So the very next moment for me would be to find a comfortable seat. So first, personally for me, even though it feels good to sit on the floor, propping up onto a bolster or something feels even better. So the next thing in the moment is that we've all got things that are weighing on our brain. Right now, I have this sense of almost overwhelming frustration with the Zoom app randomly deciding not to do what it just did 7 minutes ago. Right? The class I had before, I was on the screen, we were doing all of this. Yeah. And so randomly, things took a hard left, right? And so I'm overwhelmed with those thoughts in my brain, but in reality, there's nothing I can do about it in this very moment. What I can do in this very moment, my actual next step, is to not worry about that, because there's nothing I can do about whatever scenario is going on, whether it's something like my Zoom isn't recording properly, or it's, you know, trying to get your car to work or pay bills or whatever it is. There's always a next step rather than the whole staircase. So this next step, I've gotten comfortable. The next step is to let those thoughts that are welling up for you or me to drop to the side, and the thought to be singled out, to be pinpointed, focused on the breath itself. Nothing magical, but just the breath. So everybody come with me, close your eyes right now, and start to find that breath. As you start to feel the breath come in through the nose and out through the nose, what is it that the breath feels like? All right, I think I figured something. And so we're finding this place of just paying attention to the breath, right? Just being present, just feeling the breath in and of itself. And so breaking your moments, especially the more difficult ones, down into little bits so that maybe you can think more clearly, so that you can feel more clearly. Right? Notice how just paying attention to the breath it dilutes those nagging thoughts for you. Right? And so the next step in the process is, as we start to focus on the breath, if there is anything coming up for you, just give it a moment on your mental movie screen and see if it's something that you don't want to focus on right now, but you're going to let the subconscious just let it rest there for a moment. And so we watch the thoughts and then let it float away like clouds or like credits on our movie screen, right? And so the next step is the awareness of how you feel in this moment. So taking cues from the breath, the shoulders, how your body feels in this moment. Just notice it. Don't try to change it. Don't try to mold it. Don't make it into anything that it's not already. Just bring it into the simple awareness. That's the next step on our rung. And then not attaching yourself to any of those feelings or thoughts. Bring to mind now how you want to feel, what energy you want to feel, what you want your baseline to be today. And that could be everything from feeling relaxed. It could be very productive. It could be very centered and grounded. You could need to be a force of nature today. We have all different types of stairs or ladders or pathways that we can take our next step down. But we have to set ourselves up properly before we go down that challenge. And so what energy do you want to feel today? What would help you along your personal journey? Not deciding what the journey is, but really feeling what energy you need to bring up. Right? And then what kind of energy do you want to leave in your wake? Right? When you move through your day today, how do you want people to feel when you leave their space? And this is an important component as well. Not what you need to do, not what people expect of you. Just completely different a lot of times. And so as you think and feel on this, go ahead and open your eyes for me. And so we set up a small outline so far, right? So all you need to do today is get a baseline breath, get a basic understanding of the thoughts that continue to roll through your mind without attachment, get a baseline understanding of the energy that you need today, whether it's, warrior goddess or relaxing in a hammock. There are two different energies and you can't take one into the other realm, right? And then what energy you want to leave in the wake, which is completely different than what people expect of you or what you expect of you for other people. Completely different, right? And we're going to practice feeling those breaths, feeling those energies, watching our thoughts pass through like clouds without getting attached to them, right? So we don't want the kudzu, the circling of the mind, the spiraling of the thoughts to come into play today. Those of you who would like to start to come with me into physical practice, you're going to put your knees on maybe something soft if you need to. We're going to come onto hands and knees, all fours. And so when we move into this, what is the breath like? So as I exhale, I'm going to take note of how the cat stretch feels in my body. And as I inhale, I'm going to drop my belly. I'm going to notice how my cow feels in my body. I'm going to move back and forth. And now for some of us, it's going to feel even better if we start to kind of circle with it, Some people like really the standard movements of the back and forth. So you have to decide what's your breath going to be like through this cat-cow. What are the concerns about your cat-cow? Some people go into cat-cow and they start thinking, oh, my back is tight, my neck is tight, my low back is shaky, I need to be careful. There's all kinds of thoughts, right? Instead of going down the hamster wheel of those thoughts, notice them And then reinform yourself of the energy that you would want on this mat that's going to carry you out through your day. So if you're warrior princess today, right, you're really making sure that you're strong and capable through those postures. If you're feeling like laying around and watching TV and just enjoying your sunny afternoon, your energy might still be a little more flowy, a little more dance-like. And then bringing that mind back into it, that energy level back into it. If someone was watching you practice, what energy would you want them to see while you practice? And that's where we get into the difference of what people try to draw from us and what we want to present, right? So in my practice, I want people to see that I'm okay with whatever I'm doing, right? I want them to see an energy of work in progress, but happiness along the way, right? And when I think like that, it informs how I move. Those of you who can do a down dog, come into your down dog. So you're going to tuck your toes, lift your hips, and pedal your feet, wag your tail. Now, some of you, your wrists may ache. You can also just kind of roll up a thick yoga mat especially, and you can put the heels of the hands on that thick roll and the fingers onto the floor, and that'll take some of the pressure off the wrist. You could even shorten your stance a little bit. And so as I come into the down dog, I'm going to notice, what is my breath like? Okay. And just take a few moments to feel that breath, to feel the moment of the breath. And then I'm going to come through and I'm going to watch all those little thoughts that come up. Some of them are judging your down dog. Some of them are already going into your grocery list or lack thereof grocery list, unfortunately. All right. And just watch whatever thoughts continue to try to invade your moment, because they're doing it all the time. Don't try to change them, just notice them. And then finding that breath again, what energy do you want out of your practice today? What energy do you need to carry you through your practice itself? And then what kind of energy do you want to display? You could take a snapshot and it would display that thought or that energy or that emotion all wrapped up into one of your down dog. What would it show? Right? What would the aura of this, for lack of better terminology, of this posture be for you? And then you can choose to move around a little more. Some people like lifting a leg up in the air. If you do so, you can lift the leg up in the air and drop the foot back. You can do some ankle circles. Whatever you do on one side, you want to make sure you do on the other. And when you're done with that, we're going to come into a child's pose. And so your child's pose, I like to see the knees about as wide as your low ribs so that you feel supported in the low ribs. And then sitting onto the heels, you'll stretch your arms forward. Today, I am doing an active child's pose. And so that means my elbows are lifted. My shoulders are not in my ears. It's just my forearms are lifting away from the mat. And I've got my forehead resting somewhere between my hairline and my brow line. And I'm noticing, where is my forehead on the mat? Do my shoulders feel tight? I'm paying attention to the little things along my path to make my path better, right? And then what is the breath? What's the circling of the mind like? What kind of energy do you want to contain even within this child's pose? So even a warrior energy, let's talk about this while you're in child's pose. You know, if you're bringing the energy of Kali into your day because you've got a challenge this afternoon, a child's pose can be a beautiful way to harness that into the center of you, to that space of action. So use this child's pose as though you're absorbing all that prana around you, building it up, bringing it into the center of you because it's so focused. And even in that child's pose, you can show that kind of warrior goddess energy or warrior god energy. If I have some men watching the video, there'll be this sense of the outer shell of it is soft, but there's this inner quality of strength and stability, right? Okay. And so as you go back into the breath again, come up onto all fours, hands and knees. If there's any little cat-cow things that you need, please do that. Otherwise, we're going to come up to a standing position. As we come up to a standing position, I would like you to find your mountain pose. And so for some people in this class, this means that your feet are about 4 inches apart so that your second toes are at 12 o'clock and you're nice and stable. Some of you might enjoy your big toes together. It just depends on what you need today, right? And so from this position, letting the shoulders drop down, letting the belly move back, we're just going to experience the movement of reaching our arms up. What does that feel like to breathe with that? What does it feel like to reach those arms up? And then as you exhale, forward fold, swan dive, flatten your back as you go all the way down. Try to bring the hands to the earth. Bringing your hands onto your shins, inhale, lift, halfway up. See how flat you can get in your back. See how full you can get in the chest with the breath without taking it into the low belly. And then on your next exhale, you'll forward fold again. Notice if there's any tension in the back of the neck, if you're still breathing with quality. On your next inhale, you'll come all the way up. You'll reach up, stretch up. Let's grab a hold of our left wrist. As you grab a hold of the left wrist, you're going to pull it up and over. I'm going to kick that left hip out. I'm going to breathe through this whole left side of my rib cage. As I do this, I start to push down more with this left foot. I start to reach up and over more. Does this feel good on your spine? Or are you dinging something? Is the mental energy of more, or is it that strong-rooted energy that you desired in the beginning? As you come back to center line, you're going to grab a hold of the right wrist. Let the right hip kick out and do the same thing. And so as you get that long arc, you start to notice the breath. Is the breath moving here? Is it expanding through that whole right side? Notice the thoughts that come up. Are they in a line with what you need? If not, just let them flow out, right? Notice the energy that you're putting into this posture. Is it the stretchy, lazy day energy? Or is it like that warrior goddess energy, right? Inhale, come up. Exhale, release. And if you were to watch whatever flow of energy came from that release from the outside, what would that look like? Wonderful. So we're going to move back into a warrior two position. I'm going to ask you to step back with the right foot into the longest step that you've got. Generally, it's about underneath wrist. Why do I like warrior two? So just in the same way that our breath informs our mind, our energy informing our mind, our position, our body language is informing our mind. So as you gaze over that left hand, feel the breath. So how does that breath feel for you right now? Are you able to still move the breath as you extend through your warrior two? As you extend over that left hand, is your gaze laser pointed like that warrior? Or is it soft and flowing like that Sunday afternoon, right? Is the energy rolling off of you strongly, or is it bellowing off of you softly, right? If someone's take a snapshot of your posture, what would it look like? From here, we're gonna just tick-tock the feet. So now you're gonna turn the left foot out, turn those right toes in, and you're just gonna come into the warrior two on the other side. Noticing the difference between your sides. Did your breath change? Is it easier or harder on this side to do your posture? Are your thoughts different from this posture from the last one? What is your energy of this warrior two? Are you laser focused over that hand? Or are you softening to deepen? Very good. You're going to straighten that right leg, or excuse me, that left leg. You're going to bring those hands to the hips, and you're going to turn to step at the top of your mat again. Once you're at the top of your mat, we're going to mimic that posture with our tree pose. So as far as anatomically, warrior two and tree pose are very, very similar. The mind changes with those two different postures. So find yourself standing tall on your yoga mat. Find the narrowness of your feet to be as close together as you can balanced. You're going to take your hands onto your hips. We'll stand on our left foot first. I'll ask you to bring the right heel up. Some of you might just turn the knee out, right? Some of you might bring the foot up onto the calf. Some of you might slide it up into the inner thigh, all right? Taking those arms out as we come into this tree pose, find your breath. Can you find that same breath that you just had with your warrior two? What thoughts come up for you once you come into your balance pose? I find that thoughts tend to be that of challenge and sometimes failure and stuff. Let those, see if they're in accordance with what you need in this moment. If they're not, brush them aside. And then what kind of energy do you want to carry in this tree pose? Are you a big, strong oak in the middle of the woods surrounded by smaller trees? Or are you a gentle little sapling, right? Both are good and both are needed, and we are both within a whole lifetime. The tree has been a sapling and hopefully will be a strong oak, right? And then if you had to have someone look at you while you're in this pose, what kind of energy would you want to display? Balance poses show a lot more so when you fall out of them. So think about, what energy did you display if you fell out of this pose? Did you display an energy of calm? I'm just going to step back into it. Or did you display an energy of frustration? Go ahead and release. Find your breath. A little Tibetan drum. Balance poses are some of my favorite poses to teach you how the mind works, because generally the mind reacts to whatever happens in the balance pose in the same way it acts out in the world, right? If you fall out of a balance pose, it's almost the same energy as if you fell out of a challenge in your life. So let's rethink about how we fall out of our challenges, right? So as we move into the other leg, mirror imaging. So if you're really challenged on balance today, whether you're a little bit older, you've got knee or hip issues or sinuses, maybe you're just onto the toe. Maybe your foot is onto the calf. Maybe it's all the way up in the thigh. It's never on the knee. And then taking the arms out, or maybe in prayer, whatever benefits you. So still taking those postures in a way that uphold the energy that you want, uphold that breath that you want. And so finding that breath, what does it feel like to stand here in tree pose? Is the breath moving? Are you walking down on the breath in any way? Right? And then what are the thoughts that are associated with this posture, with the challenge of balance for you today? And then what energy do you want to feel in this pose? Do you want to feel expansion? Do you want to feel a sense of coming home? Do you want to have a sense of power? Do you want to have a sense of calmness? Or all of the above? And if someone was to look at you as you come out of this pose by falling, what would they see? What energy, what instantaneous micro expression would they see? And is that what you want them to see? As you come out of the posture, finding your Tibetan drum. That's for long holds. I was trying to talk and distract you from all the other places you could go and bring it right back into where you're supposed to be. So from here, we're going to come down onto the mat. We're going to do some restorative postures. So as we come into our restorative posture, one of my favorite things to do with this class, because I tend to have a lot of people who either work on the computers or might be a little bit older, take this class or have some kind of injuries. And what I see is a lot of this roundedness. And so my favorite thing to do for this type of class is the chest opener. So I'm actually going to cover this hard wooden block with a blanket because I haven't sanded the edges. I'm making blocks. Something to do in the morning. All right, so I'm going to actually cover this. Notice I put it on its flat side. Some of you might need an extra block or something for your head. If you don't have blocks, you can use a rolled up towel or blankets or pillows, whatever you've got around your house. You can use books. Right? So what I'd like to do here is take your heart back over this block. Now, for some of you, legs can go long, knees can bend. Some of you, you'll need this block for your head. Some of you will feel comfortable dropping all the way back. The problem with dropping all the way back sometimes is that the shoulders come up in your ears. And that goes back to, what do you want someone to see when they're seeing you do this pose? Do you want the same kind of nonsense you already have going on? Or do you want someone to see like this big open, encasing, chest, abundant posture, right? And so if dropping the head all the way back makes your chest and your body language and shoulders kind of cave in, it would be more appropriate to find that breath with a block. See how open the breath is. See how expansive the breath is. Notice what thoughts come through your mind. Sometimes there's a more thought in these situations, which is not necessary. All right? And then as you notice the breath and you notice your thoughts, what kind of energy would you want to display in this posture, right? And so as you lay back here, if your chest was made of plexiglass, how would that look, right? how open, what kind of energy does an open heart, an open chest have? Are there any thoughts that come up for you to have an open heart or an open chest? Are there any spaces that feel energetically like they lock down when you think of an open heart or open chest, right? And so what is it that, my face, all right, so what is it that energetically describes this openness for you? And then if someone else was looking at this open heart, open chest posture, what would they see? How could you express through a snapshot of this pose what it looks like to have an open heart? And so circle through the breath. Allow the thoughts to flow through. Feel the energy of this posture. And then how this posture is energetically represented. Now start to let all that go. And just settle into the breath of it all. Notice what the breath feels like. Notice the energy of the breath. Notice how you see your breath from the outside. So taking all of this that we've been practicing through class and zeroing in on the breath itself. All the thoughts drop away. The energy, the prana moving through you is the focus. What does it feel like? What does it represent? How does it move? Take a few more breaths here. I'm going to ask you to slowly begin to meander up to a seated position. And once you arrive in the seated position, maybe keeping that breath, that energy that you built up, letting those thoughts fall away, letting now the intense intentions that we've done throughout class just do their work naturally now. And so we're going to take the left leg long. For some of you, either sitting up onto a cushion will feel good. If you sit up onto a cushion, definitely make sure the back of your knee is supported so that you're not hyperextending your knee. We're going to mimic that tree pose again. So I'm taking my left leg long. I'm taking my right foot to the inside of my left thigh. And so with a little micro bend in my knee, I'm still going to press my thigh actively down to the floor. So I'm trying to smash through this blanket. If you don't have anything behind your knee, I suggest getting a little bit of something so you're not hyperextending the knee to the floor, right? Especially if you are sitting up, right? And so now I'm pressing the back of the thigh, not the back of the knee, down towards the mat. And I'm starting to feel that essence of tree pose come in again, starting to feel the breath. As I come forward, I'm going to float into this posture with the same kind of energy that I've been carrying throughout class. Instead of being zeroed in on the thought again, I'm just going to focus on what the breath has been like for me all class. We've set up the steps. They're in the mind. Now let's just let the breath carry everything through our stretches, right? So let the thoughts go if they pop up again. Focus on the breath. What does the breath feel like? What does the breath represent in this posture for you? And I know that that's a thought to some degree, but I'm asking you, instead of thinking about it, to feel it, to experience it. Beautiful. Come up. We're going to switch out those legs. So taking a little support, like I said, especially if you're upright, you really don't want those knees to hyperextend. But even down on the floor, since I have so much activation down, it gives me something to feel, to press into, something to experience rather than just I'm firming up my leg, and actual experience as I come forward. And then I'm going to feel the energy of the breath, feel the energy of this pose, feel how it's expressing itself and being within my body right now. Come up. Very good. We're going to take our legs out wide now. If you are sitting up on something, you can still sit up on something. You can actually take those blocks behind the knees. If you are seated on the floor, you could take the blanket or an individual towel underneath each. We're just going to come forward here. Now, some of you would probably enjoy doing a little Ann Guinness. Cute little babies, right? And so allowing yourself to feel whatever energy that you set up, not thinking about it, feel it in this pose. So what's the breath like? What does this pose energetically feel like? In through the nose and out through the nose. Go ahead and come up. We're going to go into any little spinal twist that you enjoy, but I suggest having maybe a bolster or pillow for under your knees once we go into Shavasana. And maybe if you do have a pillow for your head, it should be thin, right? But as far as spinal twists, I recommend my favorite one for after this class in this particular scenario would be to cross your legs like a lady in a mini skirt. Whatever leg is on top, you go away from its hip. So you go towards the lower leg, right? And notice how the foot gets a little stuck. It'll help pull on that outer hip. And then uncrest to the other side. And so whatever you did on one side, you might choose to do another hip opener or different spinal twist than this. This is up to you. You decide which one you would like to do. And after you go through both sides and you even out any little last wiggles and stuff that you need, please find those now. And then you'll move over into your Shavasana. So those of you who are moving into meditation, the blanket is really nice at this moment as well. Those of you who join me for the live class, thank you so much for your patience. I hope that you were able to see what's going on throughout the class. And as you lay onto your back, if you'd like to close your eyes or cover your eyes, that would be wonderful. I'm just going to lead you through a quick little body awareness to tag along with what we've done in class. And so we set up class by really looking at the challenge of a whole class or a whole moment by breaking it down into parts. And we'll do our meditation in the same way. And so as you lay onto your back and you close your eyes, first let's just take a moment to breathe. In through the nose, out through the nose. And notice that breath. And so even if you had to be a warrior today, even if you had to be relaxed today, there's still a sense of that breath could be carried into your meditation. And so how would a warrior breath be in meditation? Well, that's really for you to personally answer. But if you were to ask me, I would still see it as this, like, each exhale, I would feel like I was rooted and connected more, right? It would, for me personally, a warrior or warrior goddess, right, is overly grounded because every decision has to come from that space of utter clarity. And so here, if that was my energy, I would feel those exhales just creating that tether, creating that root, creating that inorganic rooted space. Right? I have that light, flowy, buoyant energy for the day. I might focus on the expansion and the vastness of an inhale and what that experience is. And so you find your breath. You find the duality between a standing breath that is powerful and a restorative Shavasana that still contains power within it. You're going to feel whatever energy you've chosen to carry through your breath and your meditation. You're going to feel that in your toes. The sole of the foot. The top of the foot. The ankle. The calf muscles. The shins. Knees. The thigh. Sensation of the energy in the hips, the bowl of the pelvis. Feeling of energy in the sides of the legs. And feeling of energy and breath in the lungs. And energy in the shoulders. Energy down the arms. Energy in the palms. Sensations in the fingertips. Sides of the neck and the jaw. And face, and behind the eyes. And breath through the whole entirety of the body. The energy in the whole entirety of the body. And I ask you to stay here for as long as you can, allowing whatever energy is there, whatever energy you need to support you throughout these next several moments in your afternoon. And inspire you to lay here for as long as you can. Feel good in this space. Namaste.